No noise.
No noise. Hi everybody! In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make snowman cookies. This project is part of a collaboration with my friends Haniela and Marlin of Montreal Confections. We each did our own version of this snowman drawing. You can see their videos on their YouTube channels. The link is in the description. The first thing you're going to do is wrap an acrylic board with parchment paper and then slide the template underneath. If you don't have an acrylic board, you can just use the underside of a baking sheet or some other kind of flat surface that can be wrapped in parchment paper. The next thing you're going to do is fill in the arms and legs of the snowman with flood consistency royal icing and a decorating tip 2. If you're new to royal icing and you're not sure what flood consistency is, you can take a look at my ultimate guide to royal icing, which is on my blog. The link is in the description. So here I'm just using the Scribe tool to help shape the icing and smooth it out. All the supplies that you need for this project are listed in the description. Now I'm just switching my decorating tip from a number 2 to a number 1 so that I can fill in the eyes and the nose and the mouth of the snowman. And unfortunately, I don't have the footage of me filling in the snowman's face, but this is what it looks like when it's done. The icing has to dry completely before you color it with the edible ink markers, so I usually let my icing dry overnight. So once the icing is dry, you can just go ahead and fill those in with the edible ink markers. I'm using orange for the nose and I'll use black for the eyes and the mouth. When you fill in the eyes, just make sure to leave a little space for a reflection. The markers that I'm using here are the Chefmaster food decorating pens, and I really like these because they have 2 tips. There's one that's a brush tip, and then they have this fine tip here that I'm using for the eyes. The next thing I'm going to do is use this blue edible ink marker to outline the template on the baked cookie. I also used this template to cut the cookie itself, so to do that you'll just place the template onto a chilled sheet of cookie dough and cut around it with a knife. And then you can just bake the cookie according to the recipe instructions. My recipe is available in my shop. It's also available to my Patreon subscribers. I've put a link to both in the description. And then you can just fill it in with flood consistency royal icing and a decorating tip 3. This is the same icing that we used before to make the arms and legs of the snowman. And then you can just use your Scribe tool to shape the icing and help smooth it out. And then you'll just want to let the icing dry completely. I let mine dry overnight. So now I'm just tracing the template with a piece of tissue paper and an edible ink marker. And now I'm putting that piece of tissue paper on the dry icing and tracing over it again with the edible ink marker. So the idea is that the ink bleeds through the paper and onto the icing. Okay, let's see if it worked, and it did. And now I'm tracing the hat with the edible ink marker. So now I'm just painting the surface of the icing with edible adhesive. If you can't find edible adhesive, you can also just use thinned out royal icing, or you can use meringue powder mixed with water. And now I'm dipping the cookie into a dish of granulated sugar. That's going to give the snowman a nice frosty texture. The next thing you'll do is pipe the scarf with teal and red medium consistency royal icing with a decorating tip 1. Medium consistency royal icing holds a soft peak. If you want to learn more about it, you can take a look at that ultimate guide to royal icing that I mentioned earlier. And then you can fill in the hat the same way. And then carefully remove the royal icing transfers that we made earlier from the parchment paper. So the best way to do this is to cut around the transfers and then gently peel the paper away from the icing. It's a good idea to make extras in case any of them break. And then you can paint the arms and the legs with the edible adhesive. I'm holding it down with the Scribe tool so that it doesn't move around too much as I'm painting it. Then dip those pieces into the granulated sugar. Pipe a little bit of medium consistency icing on the back and then attach them to the snowman. And then you can use the medium consistency icing to attach the mouth and the nose and the eyes. Use the Scribe tool to help push the pieces into place. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure to head over to my friends HANIELA'S and MONTREAL Confections so you can see how they decorated this snowman cookie. What's that?
Cookie. Cookie.